So I wanted to talk about two particular anomalies, what I call the Clatterbridge and University Hospitals Plymouth anomalies. The first one was actually I learnt from it from my colleague when he was doing his ALK model. He told me about the Clatterbridge issue. When I looked into it, it didn't just only affect ALK, it seemed to affect a number of other drugs that I was looking at for EGFR, ROS1, and then my control drugs like tamoxifen and astrazole and such. So it seems to be a widespread data issue at the Clatterbridge. The issue was that in 2019 the numbers seem to be fine. So for instance, here on alectinib we've got just under 29,000 tablets. It's quite a few suritinib in those days. And then moving on to 2020, we've gone up to 38,000, which seems fine. We've got a bit of lorlatinib coming in and suritinib going down. And then so keep in mind that 38,000 figure for alectinib. And then in 2021, sorry, I can't show that on here because I've changed it. In 2021, we then went up to 74,000 just in 1 year. Alectinib tablets, so kind of doubled in 1 year, which didn't seem plausible. And then the following year, 2022, so look up hospital code REN for the Clatterbridge. Go to the top, go over to alectinib, REN. So now it's dropped down to just under 7,900, so roughly a 90% drop in 1 year. Incredible. And then the year after it did go up to about 9,000 odd. But there's obviously something wrong with the data there, and it doesn't just affect, as I say, it doesn't just affect these ALK drugs. Oddly, some of the brigatinib ones here, they went negative, which is really weird for that. So it doesn't just affect the ALK drugs. It seems to affect a number of drugs for the Clatterbridge. So I think there's just some sort of fundamental data issue that hopefully will get corrected next year. The other issue was with University Hospitals Plymouth, which is something I picked up when looking at why the Southwest was so high. So that's, I think, RK9. It oddly only affects lorlatinib, and it's only for 2 periods in time. It's not 2023, it's 2020 and it's 2022. So in lorlatinib, it was approved by NICE in May 2020. So in 2019 there wasn't much being prescribed by University Hospitals Plymouth, which is code RK9. And then suddenly in January 2020, there was 900 tablets being prescribed for a year, for that month, and then 1,800 for February, and nothing for March. So maybe that's a double month there. April 900, May 900, June 900, July 900, and then it suddenly drops down to 30. Now 30 is the standard order for one patient getting a month's worth of 100 milligram lorlatinib tablets. So here we've got the equivalent of 30 patients, 60 patients for 1 month and 30 patients for so it just seems ridiculous, to be honest with you, unless there's some I thought perhaps, first of all, perhaps there was a trial going on, given that the approval was around that date. Possibly it's stockpiling. I don't like to say it, possibly there's even medical fraud, but I suspect it's just really a data issue that somebody's just keyed in the wrong numbers for a number of months. 2021 was absolutely fine, and then 2022 the issue seems to be back again for the same hospital. So where's that there? Okay, 9. So, oh, sorry, wrong drug. So that's lorlatinib. Okay, 9. It's the top. Down the bottom, I've done a reconciliation for those, the adjustments that I've made. So exactly the same issue, and surprisingly exactly the same sort of amounts as well. So we can see here we've got pretty normal amounts of patients on lorlatinib that you'd expect. So it goes up and down a little bit, but then suddenly we got this massive spike in June 2022 up to 1860. So I think there's probably 1800 tablets too many there, and then we have 2 lots of 900 again in July and August, and then it dramatically goes down to 30, 60, goes back down to normal levels after that. So I think, again, whatever happened in 2020, whatever the issue was then, has reoccurred in 2022. So I thought really the least bad option was just to remove these what appear to be erroneous figures from the data altogether. Now, you'll remember from the ALK maps that there is Southwest England has very high prevalence of ALK TKIs. Leaving these in would have made the bias even greater. So I thought it was best just to take them out and adjust for that, take them out of my analysis. And the bias, even without these, is still the most prevalent region for ALK in England, even without this. So I'll try and find. There was another. I vaguely remember that there was possibly another one of these sorts of issues with one of the control drugs, but I can't readily see it find where it is for the moment. And I'll look out for any other such anomalies in the future and adjust for those accordingly if I find them.